Oh my gosh. So, first of all, we're live. So, this is real. But I forgot that I had both of our channels pulled up. And as soon as we went live, I could hear all the stuff in my ears. I was like, I had a little bit of a panic attack. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure what the hell was going on, but we're back. We recovered. We're all good. So, welcome everyone. Can somebody in either one of our chats just let us know that you can hear us? Because I have both of our chats pulling up. I obviously can see the chat. You should be able to see the chat as well. But we just want to make sure that you can hear us, see us, and everything is good. That would be fantastic. And the other thing is, too, is you should also be able to see the chat. So you will know. The other thing is, welcome everybody in. We actually don't really have an agenda. We are here for your viewing pleasure. So we were chatting. We usually do a recorded episode after the game, after you've traveled, after I've ranted or made my video, whatever I'm saying for the week. And then I feel like we kind of come together and have a moment where we're like, okay, how is it for you? What are you thinking? What are you doing? Like, whatever. So we just decided, like, this week we don't have that. And so we were like, let's just go live. This is your first simulcast. So I am proud to say that I was your first. So anyway, so I will stop talking. People are here for you too. So how are you thinking? What are you feeling? How is the bye week? What are your thoughts? Nobody has let us know that they can hear us. So I might be just talking to you. This might be a party of one.
We'll figure it out sooner or later. But
there you go.
Hello, everyone. Of course, like she said, we usually do our weekly show, but today we're doing a little something different. We're going live and answering your questions, directly from you guys, and we're giving you the information that you want. This is your platform to ask us whatever you want to ask us, and we'll give you those answers. But most importantly, I'm excited and happy to have you as my first live partner. So let's go.
You can say it. You can say it. I'm your first. It's okay. No, I'm just kidding. The other thing is too, is I think it's cool. And we've talked about this, is like, sometimes when you're creating content, like, people don't know if they're actually watching who that person is, or if they're just watching a person that is created when the cameras are on.
Right.
And so I think it's important that, like, we're real people. We've talked about this behind the scenes. Like, we're real people. We do real things. We also have real jobs outside of this. Like, this is like what we do for fun. So it's like, it's just a nice reminder that, like, yes, you see our content, but behind the content, we're real people. We don't put on for the camera or whatever. So we just are who we are. And so there's that. The other thing I wanted to mention is you went to a game this weekend though, didn't you?
Unfortunately, yes. Yes, I did go to a football game this weekend. I went to go see my Florida State Seminoles play. My alma mater, it didn't go well. As you all know, this is a rough season, and we're just going to hit the reset button on the season. Fast forward, even better,
What is that like, going from, like, oh my gosh, we're so good, we're going to the playoffs, we're so good, this is great, we're undefeated, to quarterback breaks his leg, you don't go to the playoffs, off season where you're like, we're leaving this conference, this sucks. And then this year, you're like, what is this?
Yeah, so it's kind of been like a downhill snowball effect, just to explain it for lack of words. But we did have almost a perfect season. Granted, they didn't let us into the CFP, college football playoffs, which we're still, it's very tender. It's a very tender subject. But this season definitely stunk. It stunk really badly. We thought we would at least be 4-1, 4-2 maybe at least. But hey, yeah,
it is what it is. That's why you line it up.
And in situations like this, I feel like, well, no, I know that certain areas in our program are being exposed, and it's just very unfortunate to see, but that's just the truth of it all. And you could also even mention the NIL could have an effect on this. Players having this amount of money, this is the first time that we have seen this in college football. So that is also something to consider.
Yeah. I'm in one of those fan bases with Texas where I'm like, oh, we can pay? Amazing.
Yeah.
How much are they asking? I always tell, I have this like weird relationship with NIL and what's happening with college football because
Mhm.
for obvious reasons, like being a Texas fan, I'm like, okay, I don't care. Like, pay him. Sure, pay him. I don't care. Give him a
Y'all
car.
have it. Y'all have the bag.
Yeah,
Y'all have
pay
the
him
bag.
twice. Like, what is he asking for? Okay. But then the other part of me being a Colorado fan, I'm like, oh, okay, wait, what's his asking? Okay, okay,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
We have that much.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, who do we pay? So I just think it's awesome. Do you think they'll ever make? I just thought about this because I often ask myself, do you ever think they'll make uh their contracts or what they're making public?
Ooh. Well, I don't know if they do the NIL rankings
Yeah.
for college sports, and Shador Sanders is number one, and
Yeah.
Travis is like three or something like that, and Arch
But
Manning
like
is two, and
I want to know about like
specifically,
random offensive lineman guy.
yeah, that would be good too.
Like, yeah, because like, well, because I guess my thing is like if he's making 60 million at Bama, hell, come to Texas. We'll give you 100. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm just curious to know, like, where's this data being housed? Like, how do we know who's making what?
right,
So,
right.
and obviously in the pros, every time somebody like makes a tackle or misses a tackle, they're like, and he's making $32 million to miss those tackles. And you're like,
Really? Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Like, could
Did
you
you
make the
know?
tackle?
Did you know the quarterback from Vanderbilt? They had that big win versus Alabama, of course, this
Yeah.
past weekend. He tweeted out or mentioned somewhere on social media. He said that he wanted to work with Ferrari,
I know
what was
that's right.
some other places, and some big name NIL deals, and all because of the big win. And
Yes.
hey, name your price.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that's amazing. I think
yeah,
that's the part I think they're missing out. Like my thing is like everyone's like, oh, this runs football, it runs football. Listen, you guys, we're living a capitalist society. Okay. No one's ever complaining when you roll through the nice neighborhoods. Okay. Like that's what
exactly,
this is. Okay.
exactly,
And
exactly.
everybody, you get in where you fit in, and wherever you fit in is where you fit in. But I kind of like it. I like that the athletes are
Yes.
kind of like, I'm not putting up with this. I'm not,
Mhm.
no, no, I deserve 2 million.
Yeah. Did you see Reggie Bush? Reggie Bush is actually filing a lawsuit.
Suing. I
Yeah,
saw that. I
that's
saw
really
that.
good. Him, Johnny Manziel, Cam Newton, they
They
they are
should.
old, and Tim
Yeah.
Tebow. They're old back pay.
I'm trying to figure out where Vince Young is. Like, bro,
Yeah, Vince Young.
go
Yeah,
get your money. Like,
yeah.
I guess my thing too is like, if Reggie Bush can do it, like, Vince Young needs to be on the
Fans too.
phone, like, right now. Like, obviously I'm a Texas fan, so this is kind of dramatic, but like,
No,
so many people like got up in that moment and were like, I can play quarterback because I can do that. Yes.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I love Vince.
I'm fast. Yeah, I can run, I can do that. So I'm like, give that man his money too. Screw
Yeah,
it. Just give
yeah.
it.
And like you
Everybody gets
mentioned,
money.
yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of people looked up to him, and one of those, for a fact, was Jameis Winston. And you can
Yes.
you can kind of see the resemblance in their game a little bit, but
Yeah.
that swagger that they have.
Hmm.
He brought a different personality to the quarterback position,
I agree.
and he won big.
Yes.
So
And he beat the teams he wasn't supposed to beat.
right,
Like I always say, I think was it Deshaun Watson when he won in the championship game, and they were like, "What's this like for you?" Whatever. He was like, "I remember Vince Young running it." I'm like,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
like
yeah,
exactly. Like,
yeah,
anyways, but of course, like the bigger conversation is like people are like, "Yeah, but what about this?" I'm like, ask.
ass,
If you don't ask, you will get $0.00. Ask. Who cares?
yeah. It's a $1 trillion industry in the South. College
Pay
football,
me.
easily,
Yes. Pay
easily.
me. Pay me what I'm worth. Period. So I don't know. I know people like feel away about it. And I don't. I'm like, pay them, pay them. Like if somebody you're worth what you're willing to pay. If somebody's willing to
Right,
pay me $5 million, then I'm worth $5 million. I
right.
don't so there was another question I want to ask you just about like your content. Because obviously like you go places and you do a lot of things, but um how do you decide what you're going to film and what you're going to keep like for yourself?
That's a great question. So, um, my mindset going into filming is just like okay, what do most people not see, and what would
Mm,
they want to see? Like if someone was with me, and or if I was just, a viewer, like what would I want to see that most people don't see? Show me the
yeah.
behind the scenes. I want to see Travis Hunter walking to the bus after a long game. He's sore and he's not injured, but he's sore. He's been playing a
Yeah.
long hard
He's
game, and
tired.
most channels and people don't show that. But I want to see,
Yeah.
you know, um, yeah.
So, do you ever feel like I think it's cool. There's like this weird boundary of life, right? Where it's like, show me everything and also show me nothing. So, like, okay, personal story here. So, last night I was like minding my business and I was like, I'm going to go work out, whatever. And I stumbled across this family on YouTube where this lady or this family was having a baby.
Mhm.
She was having a baby. She delivered the baby. As soon as she delivered the baby, she knew something was wrong. And she almost started and she was like, "Some is he okay? Is he okay?" And they were like, "Oh, he's fine." And she was like, and she kept asking. And
Uh,
she could just tell something was wrong, but obviously she had just given birth, all the things that happen with women when they're giving birth. And then it cuts away and it's like 2 minutes later, right? And everybody in the room is crying and it's so dramatic. And I'm like, oh my, like
what
this,
happened?
and he wasn't breathing right. And so they had to put him on breathing treatment. And then at one point he had stopped breathing. It was just this whole thing. And I thought in that moment, I don't want to see this
Yeah.
because obviously I'm thinking the worst and I don't want to
Right.
see that. But then again,
Mhm.
I can't stop looking because I'm
Yeah.
like, this is so good,
Yeah. You have to see
and
the. Yeah.
yeah, and they're being so vulnerable. And so I just wonder like how that happens with you, where you're like, I'm here and this stadium is rocking, or it's not, or we're losing or whatever. And you're
Yeah.
just like, but people want to see this, like people want to see it,
Hmm.
and I just
Hmm.
think that like it's an interesting place to be.
Right. Right. So, for example, when KJ Jefferson from the UCF Knights threw that touchdown pass, it was. I didn't want to include it. Of course not. I want to see the Buffs win.
Yeah.
But most importantly, seeing a shift in momentum, that's very
Mm,
important. It builds to the storyline, and you always have to have like a of course, the protagonist, antagonist, all that good stuff for stories, but
yeah.
there has to be a storyline, and I feel like that adds to the storyline. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, and we'll get to this question here in a second. I So obviously this, you're a content creator. There's probably 9,000 million videos you can watch of like being a content creator.
Yeah.
And one of the things it tells you about a story is telling a story. And so as in like my full-time job, I also tell people that, right? Like tell the story, tell the story.
The story.
But the one thing I realize people forget when they're telling the story is to like include you in the story, right? Because we're often like, let me show you the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter. And it's like,
Yeah.
but I'm here. So what is that? What is the moment like? Like, how do
Right.
I fit in this experience?
Right.
And
Right.
so that's also something that it sounds like you think about. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is for the Buffalo. So who do you think are some under the radar players to watch? It's a good question.
Our
Yeah.
favorite, Omarion Miller, of course, Big O.
Yeah.
He's so underrated, and I also mentioned the other Miller, who was the freshman, number
Oh,
6,
Draylon.
Draylon. He's very underrated too. Once he gets his chance, and he's gonna make a big play in a big game when we need him, and yeah, that's just something I've been
That's
predicting.
I like it. That's good. I like that you said that. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of O. I always jokingly I'm like, he can come to Texas and I'll be fine. So because that's how I am. I'm like, if you don't play at Colorado, come play at Texas. If you don't play at Texas, go play at Colorado. Like that's just how I feel like this should
Right.
go for me because this is all about me. So so I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I also think that sometimes we forget about the people that don't often play.
Hmm.
And I think that sometimes we're so fixated on I'm on record as saying teams are only as good as their backups because that guy's going to either get tired, his helmet's going to come off, his shoe's going to come off, he'll get poked in the eye. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like what insert whatever thing. And so I always focus on those backups. Like yeah, when I talk about Texas, I always talk about the freshmen. And when I talk about Colorado, I always say like it's about the depth, because like those guys come in those moments where you're like, wait, why is he out there?
Right.
Oh, right. So-and-so's in the tent for 2 plays. So,
yeah,
but
and
yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a great point. That's the difference between good teams and great teams is having
Mhm.
depth. And over the years, Alabama has showed that. We see players leave the program and other players they step up. They step right into position because they're
Right.
prepped. They're prepped to be starters and to be ready for their moment whenever their number is called. And
Yeah.
perfect example, Tua and Smith from when they showed up in the national championship. Two true freshmen scoring a
Yeah.
touchdown to win the national
That's it.
championship is unheard of. But
Yeah.
but like Saban prepared his players and prepped them for that moment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. Hey, Rawhide. The other thing I always say too that I think that people don't think about is because I'm one of those people that like the way that I look at sports, like some people hate it, which is fine. But I always say, like, I'm going to give you the benefits of the player doing like I'm going to give you the benefits that Shador is great. Cool. I'm going to give you the benefit that Travis is going to be Travis. Cool. I'm going to give you the benefit, right? I'm just going to give you those things. I'm not even like, there's no point in me harping on those things. That's a fact. It is what it is, right? Like I always say, it's like Texas's offensive line. I'm not going to be in a video talking about Texas's offensive line because they're solid. I'm giving that to them. I care about the other things that are dependent on something else.
Right.
And I know if I start yelling, let me know. My AirPod just went out. I think it might be dead. But oh, there it goes. Maybe they're old. So I always say when I look at games, I'm never going to say we're going to win this because of Shador. I expect that. Right? Like check. We're going to win because Travis Hunter is going to like, I expect that. I need to know like, what is the turnover battle going to look like? What is that offensive line going to look like? Are we going to run the ball? Right. Is it going to be effective? Are we going to make our field goals? Like the little things it's like, yeah. And I think, and again, stats are telling me, we're the best ever. Are I want to dissect that. Like, is that true? Yeah. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and kind of similar to the depth issue, it's just great coaches overemphasize the basics, the fundamentals. Whenever in doubt, you stick to your fundamentals,
Right.
And that's just the standard for greatness. Being able to do the easy things, the small things on a consistent,
Can I state
10,000 shots.
that's culture. Like that is the mere definition. Like that is it, right? Like
Culture. Yeah.
what is the thing? Like if your coach, it's like when the substitute teacher comes in, right? And you're like, okay, we still have to behave a certain way because our teacher, we come in, like if she comes back, and it's like if you remove your head coach, what do you have? What does it look like? What happens? What do people do? Because that's what matters. Because listen, he can't be everywhere. He can't see everything. That sideline is huge. There's 100 yards of field.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a headset.
Two great examples of that. This first one might be a bias, but I think it's a great example. When Coach Deion Sanders left Jackson State, he left a mold, and their Coach TC, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
He stepped in and they were still able to win games. And also this situation is kind of it's rocky situation, but the Michigan with Michigan last season, Harbaugh, he had to step away from the team and they were still able to come together and play and win, because of that structure and that foundation.
Yeah. And I think too, so people should know this. I'm an NFL girl at heart. Like that is where, like, if you catch me researching and just spending too much time doing something, it will probably be because something in the NFL has sparked my brain. I think I will nerd out about the dumb statistics I can find in the NFL just because that's how they, whatever. And the one thing I've learned about the NFL, about successful teams, and I'm starting, and I see this in college too, is like your identity. Like, who are you? Like my Steelers, I don't know who the hell we are. So that's a whole different conversation. But when you look at teams in college, when you look at Michigan, you know who they are. You know their thing. You know what they're going to do. It just is what it is. Yeah. Their quarterback play right now is abysmal, but they're going to play defense. They're going to run the ball. Like it's just, right. And whoever's there, like that's the cycle and that's the identity. And I think that that's a lot of this is you have to find that identity. And sometimes it might not be the identity you want, but it's the identity that makes you win games. And exactly. That's what matters. Exactly. Win those games. Exactly. I don't care. Yeah. If you can win games by throwing the football only, do it. I don't think you can, but it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, that identity is who you are. Like that identity is just who you are at your core. And so somebody said it's a rocky situation at Jackson State. That is true.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah. And then the Wolverines are trash right now. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The word trash is so like that's because I'm gonna be honest with you. Michigan would probably beat 50% of college football teams right now.
Oh, definitely.
Because that D line is going to do what the D line is going to do. So that alone it means you're not trash. Mm-hmm. The other thing that means you're not trash is they will probably have a lot of draft picks this year.
Oh, so definitely.
They also, that is not trash. So if we want to call trash like great defense and draft picks for the NFL, go for it. That's not my definition of trash at all.
And like you mentioned earlier, identity. I feel like FSU is definitely struggling in that area specifically because we've been trying to find our identity since the mid 2000s. We were able to establish something with Jameis Winston and Jimbo Fisher's recruiting class. We were able to establish something there. But once Jameis left, it was just like, okay, the next up, he could only do so much, and it just it really went downhill from there.
But I saw your disappointment just then.
yeah, because it's not like we don't have great players. It's just like that identity. What are we known for? What are our strong points? Yeah. So.
Yeah. He said, "I'm sorry. I'm a diehard Wolverines fan since I was a kid in this team." No, that's fine. But the thing, so I think here I go. But I think you bring up a good point with your team this year cannot be very good. That's fine. But their identity is to be a good team. And that's what we're talking about is like, that identity is a thing. And the culture is why you're disappointed, right? Because it's been established that you're supposed to be good and you're supposed to win championships. So when you don't, you're like, I think I say that to say, like, I think Texas is in a weird spot right now where it's like for probably 15 years, they were good. They were good. They won championships. They did the thing. They went to championships. They did all the things. And then for the last probably 15, they haven't been very good.
Right.
So we're in a little bit of an identity crisis.
Yeah.
We think we might have figured it out, but we actually don't know. I think the fan base's expectations are building, but we're very anxiously building. We're like, I think we're good. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're good. Are we good? Are we good? Okay. I don't know if we're that good. So we're like, so I think that's just, again, we're establishing our identity and we don't know if our culture is going to be winning or if it's going to be, 9-3, 10-2, which some people will be fine with 9-3.
Yeah. And what I've noticed over the past recent years, the best teams are player-led teams, players that have leaders that actually are vocal. They actually step up. For example, Quinn Ewers, he's like the team. They say he's a vocal leader, and you can see him on the sideline leading his teammates. And even though he's not dressed up or suited up in the gear, he's still commanding attention and commanding the best out of his troops. So I feel like that's a great example of leadership.
That's why I tell people all the time. I'm like, if a player scores a touchdown, and the first person they want to congratulate the first person they want to go up to is the quarterback that's not playing, that lets you know everything there is to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like that's their guy.
Yeah.
So I know I often get into these Texas conversations with people where it's like, yeah, but Arch. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with Arch.
There's
Actually,
nothing wrong. Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
It's just that's not how this works.
Right.
That's it. It's just
it's like the chain. It's like the chain of command has been established, and they know. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I see it as that.
And yeah, I like and listen, and I would tell everybody, I don't care who plays quarterback. I don't care if freaking Kelvin Banks, he's a left tackle. But I'm just saying, like, I don't care who plays quarterback.
Yeah.
Go win football games, hand the ball off. Don't turn the ball over. Like the same rules apply with me because that's do it. So I don't know. I just, we'll see. We'll see. The other thing I was going to ask you is, I know we've talked offline and you saying like you want to travel more and like have videos where it's not just sports blogging where you're like out traveling, whatever. Where is somewhere you would love to travel and blog? Like, have you thought about your dream destination?
I will say this. I've been to a few big cities in the US, Chicago, for example. If you haven't been to Chicago, you wouldn't truly understand how much Chicago has to offer.
That's a good one.
I love Chicago. I was sad to leave, honestly. That's been like the only place I've ever traveled and I was like upset to leave. It's always something going on Sunday through Sunday. The skyline is beautiful, especially during the summertime. The weather is good. You can go out on the water, explore, go downtown. It's just so much to do. And me being from a small town, small country town in Georgia, like this is a complete 180, so and it's just a great environment, and a lot of people don't get to see that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, Rawhide said, other than that, he's better than yours. It's like, I'm telling you, it's this thing I have. I'm like, okay, like, so Chicago's a good one and I think Chicago gets a bad rep for a ton of reasons, and I won't make this a political conversation, but there's so many reasons why Chicago gets an absolutely bad rep. But you're right, it's a great city, great to visit, especially if you can go when it's like not winter. Obvious, don't go when it's winter unless you like snow, but where it's like it's not summer, but it's not quite. It's like fall-ish, where it's like that perfect temperature. Where it's like you almost experience all the seasons in one day.
Yeah.
I think it's the perfect time. The trees are changing colors.
Yeah.
Mine is always Utah. I always tell people if you've never visited Utah, if you ever want to just go somewhere and have surprisingly good food, be around surprisingly good people, and just relax, I always tell people like give Utah a shot. Just give it a shot.
Salt Lake City.
So I've been to all parts of Utah. So Salt Lake City is fantastic. Moab is where all the arches are. It's just gorgeous. Like all the pictures you see of Utah are real. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you kind of edit the sky or you have to edit it. It's not really that color of an arch. It is that color. It is. The trees are that color. It's all real.
It's real. Yeah.
And the other thing I like is it smells free. Like it smells free. They love their national parks. They're clean. Really? It's like, it's like one of those places where I'm like, if you want to just go relax, like go to Utah and like go to Salt Lake, go to Moab, go to Park City, do it all, like do all the things. So
okay.
So that's my
what's the best season?
So I actually went October. So it depends on what you want to do. If you're into like going when it's cold and then like doing all the resort stuff and the skiing and stuff like that, you definitely should go, obviously, December through probably February. But if you want to go and like actually explore and not be scared to drive and stuff like that, I think you should go anytime that's not winter, basically. Yeah. And they are a travel state. Like they get it. And I think that's why it's so, I was shocked by how clean it was.
Really?
And nobody will understand that unless you've been there. It's just like a
Yeah.
clean, like,
Yeah.
oh, downtown is clean.
That reminds me
Oh,
of Canada,
yes,
Vancouver,
yes,
Vancouver, Canada.
yes.
Yeah.
Just like that. Same vibes. Same
Really?
vibes. Yes.
Wow.
Clean. Everybody knows you're there probably to visit.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, hey, how are you? Where are you from? Like, it's
Yeah.
just clean. And I
Mhm.
love that. And I love that. I don't know if the water is as good though, because the
Mhm.
tap water is really good in Canada.
Yeah. 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 It's like a whole different life. I when I went to Canada, I was like, "Are you guys serious?" So this is what we could possibly have
Right.
as a society,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. I always tell people, like, I'm trying very hard, by the way, not to get political, but I always tell people, if you're ever having a conversation with somebody and you're very well traveled and you ask them a question and they answer that question closed mindedly, ask them if they've ever left the country. Because 9 times out of 10, that answer is going to be no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you've never left, you don't know what you're missing or what it could be, because you've only seen, and I live in Texas, and trust me, I know people that have never even left Texas. So same thing. It's like, oh, you've never seen it. Oh, that's why you think. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why you think
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So,
and
I got it.
their perspective is controlled by whatever. What is the word I'm looking for? The perspective
Their
is controlled by.
proximity.
Yeah, the proximity. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which incoming freshman would you most like to see suit up for CU in 2025? I have
Mm,
a
Juju. If we can get Juju to commit and lock in, that would be my guy.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say my answer to that question probably hasn't committed to CU yet,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
because I want that answer to be an offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I want that
Yeah.
answer to be like,
Yeah.
I insert amazing whoever offensive lineman.
Yeah.
That's what I want my answer to be. But I don't think we've seen that person yet. I could be wrong. Listen, I'll be honest. So far, I'm not impressed by anybody that's coming in right now. So that's another reason why I'm saying that. But I want the answer to be a good offensive lineman. So that's just how I
Yeah.
personally feel.
And
Uh,
honestly, I feel like we're gonna get some. If Deion Sanders stays at Colorado, we're gonna get more guys
oh God,
out
don't
of the
say that. Oh
portal.
gosh. Oh God, fix that. Don't say that. Fix it. Fix it right now. That's
Well,
on record. Change it. Change it. Abort. Abort.
it's
Don't do it.
I hate to say it that way too, but it's just let
Oh,
I'll
great.
be optimistic and
Great.
so Deion Sanders next year he's
Collectively,
gonna bring
someone's
in.
watching this going crazy because they're like, "Oh, why did he say that? What does he know? What does he know? What did he see?
No,
What did he
no.
say?"
I wish I knew. I wish I knew, honestly. But no, I seriously Dion will bring more players in the portal, and that's going to speak volumes. You know, especially if we can bring in a big name quarterback. We'll see. We'll see.
Fair,
But
fair. Yeah. Somebody said he's telling the truth. Listen, I am fully aware of that. I just
yeah,
think there are just some people that if the second you say something that is probably one of their biggest fears,
yeah,
it creates a whole different dynamic and an entirely different conversation. So
yeah.
that's all I'm saying.
Right, right.
So, but yeah, at the end of the day, the formula is though building in the trenches, and I will always firmly stand on, if I had to start something or do something or recruit somebody or land something big, give me that person that can play opposite of Jordan Seaton.
Right.
Like,
Right.
give me that guy. Like, let's secure that. Let's let's secure our borders. No, I'm just kidding. But let's like get that established, and then let's work it out after that.
I have a question as well.
What's up?
But I think I kind of know the answer. So, do you think the Colorado Buffaloes' identity will change now that Shedeur Sanders, who is a 90% passer, do
Yeah.
you think their identity on offense will change and adjust?
Yeah, I think it has to.
Hmm.
I think it has to. And I think for longevity, I think it 100% should. And you know me, I don't think we should wait till Shador leaves to change it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but since you know, I know what we're dealing with. Like I got it. Since it's working and it, you know, as of right now, right? It's 4-1, it's
Yeah.
working fine. But yes, because I think that what happens is, so I'm on record as saying I think there are tiers of college football. Like I think there are tiers of teams, right? I think you have your I'm just gonna do the SEC because that way I can say what I really want to say and not like target any schools.
Right.
But like in the SEC, right? You have your Georgias, your Alabamas, your Ole Miss is probably up there. You know, your LSU is probably up there. And then you kind of have that next tier where it's like that's where Texas is right now. That's where Oklahoma is right now. And if you look at how those teams are structured, and if you go look at also the Big Ten, which these are the schools that are usually in the top ranked or whatever, you have to mimic that. That is what winning football looks like. I mean,
Right.
Michigan won last year off doing what they do, you know, and it's like, I just don't think you can ignore that by trying to do something different. And why would you? Just
Yeah.
go be better. Go be
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. Yeah. Recruit
So
better.
just be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, and just because you're in a lower tier doesn't mean anything, because you know what? We're all like a player or a good recruiting class or a good, you know, couple of good transfer portal pickups away from not being there. That's what put
Right.
Ole Miss into the, you know, again, they lost to Kentucky, but still, like, that's what puts Ole Miss where people are like, I like Ole Miss because they recruited well and they did well in the portal. Like,
Right.
so.
You know what? You know what's very funny to me? I just had a kind of like a flashback in my head. When I was at UCF, you remember that season where they won a national championship? They
Oh
claimed
gosh,
it.
yeah. Yeah. What was
So
it like?
yeah,
Was it
that
like
just
8 years ago?
something
Because they
like
were like
that. And it was
undefeated or
yeah,
something. Yeah,
undefeated.
yeah.
And they actually had banners and
Wait, there
things
they
up in
did?
their state. Yeah, in the stadium, they had things up where it said national champs, such as that, such and such. And I'm just like, okay, yeah. There's a point where delusion meets, but
I didn't know they really got banned. Was Hugh Freeze the coach? Who was the coach?
ah,
Whoever that coach was, I think he went to Nebraska, but I could be wrong. That history could be wrong. But I do remember that because they were chanting like the game they won. They're like, "We want Bama," and people were
yeah,
like,
no, you don't.
"Guys,
No, you don't.
stop
Yeah,
it." You're just saying that because you know you're not going to get them.
right, right.
I did not know they actually had banners up.
Yeah, they really claimed that as a championship.
I thought
But
that was
hey,
a joke.
no, no, no.
Wow. Okay. Well, bless their hearts. As we say in the South, bless
Yeah,
their hearts.
bless their
That
heart.
is, yeah. Yeah, you're right. That conversation will go to 100. Exactly. Like, it's like, one day I said something. I was like, I don't remember what I said. And somebody was like, wait, Coach Rum's not leaving. He's not going anywhere. Why would it? And I was like, no, 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 no.
No,
That's
no,
not what I'm
no, no,
saying.
no. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
giving an example. That's why I'm like, let me use the SEC because I can put my team in a
yeah.
lower tier. No one's gonna be pissed. Everyone's gonna be like, yeah, you're right. Texas has to prove themselves.
Right.
I'll leave it with that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the other thing is too is there anything in your videos that you don't show us that you like kind of go back and forth with, like, oh, I'm going to put this in, I'm going to put this in. By the way, in my description on my channel, I have all like your stuff linked so people can check out on my thing.
Yeah.
Just in case you're following me and not follow, which I don't know why anybody would follow me and not follow you, but that's a different conversation. But is there anything that you see
Uh-oh.
where you're like, why, like, I'm not going to put this in there, but I kind of want to put this in there, but
Definitely.
how do you decide?
There are intimate moments that I catch on camera. Not necessarily like, oh, don't show this, don't show this, but it's more of out of respect for that player, and their image, I won't show this.
Fair.
Or if it's or at maximum I would show just a quick snippet of it.
Yeah.
For example, when we were during the rain delay, I showed Shador Sanders just chilling and waiting for that to happen. it was much more to that, but I'm not going to do that and add that and show that to the public,
Yeah. Yeah.
just out of respect, just out of respect.
Yeah. And it's like, I think you do a good job with like showing stuff. And I'm also cheating. I talk to you. So like, so for me, it's kind of like, good job. That was good. That was good. And I also am very hyper aware and hypersensitive to the things that I also ask you for that reason, because it's like, I know what I'm trying to say. I just want to say this. If you've ever gone to any sporting event and seen athletes behind the scenes, you will understand stuff a lot better and a lot different. But if you show that without the context, it will make sense to nobody. So that's another thing that it feels like you're doing, is like, I can only show you this second, because if I show you 4 seconds, now you're going to be wondering why we were even in that position, why we were even having that conversation, like why this even happened. So it's like, it's a tricky thing. Or, I made a mistake once. I went somewhere, I'll say it, I was at an NFL game. When you go to an NFL game, if you have ticket, like you go under and you get to see a lot. And I saw a player that was stretching out a body part that nobody knew was injured. And I at the time I didn't know. This was a few years ago, but at the time I didn't know that nobody knew. And so I just, minding my business, posting pictures, whatever. And somebody was like, when did he hurt his knee? And I was like, when did who hurt his knee?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And so again, it's like, I don't think people understand how much you see that you do have to keep to yourself, just out of, code, I guess maybe is a good, like.
Yeah. And I'll mention as well, when I was younger, I want to say around middle school age, but I went to a NFL game, and being up close and personal to these things, you actually get to see personalities of these guys. On TV, you can't really get a great feel of their personalities, but being up close and seeing these guys, they are grown men.
Yes.
They're actual grown men who have feelings and express themselves and however they please to express themselves verbally, and I had a realization, and it was like, okay, these are not only just football players, these are grown men,
Right.
And
they have families.
Have families.
Yeah.
Then they have to.
Yeah, they don't want their business out there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And I will say this: one of my favorite running backs at the time. It kind of shocked me because I heard him say a cuss word. I was like, "What? You're not supposed to say that," But like I said, he's human. He's a man, and he can conduct himself in any manner that he pleases. So.
Yeah. I think it's funny. So I just saw Rawhide put this. He says, because he's saying black people, because I'm sure, because I was talking about Utah. That's a trigger word for some people, Utah is. That's hilarious. I just saw that. I don't know how I missed that earlier. The other thing is too, and you know this about me, that's why I always tell people I don't like watching any extra on players and people, because I've shared a couple of things with you. Like, I pick up on people's energies very well. And sometimes it ruins my perception of the person or the human, because some things that I see, and I'm one of those people where it's like, once I see it, and then like, if I continue to see it throughout, like what you're doing, I'm just kind of like, okay, like that's just who you are. Okay, cool. Yeah. Like whatever. And so I don't want that feeling though. I want to just see you as a football player, right? I want it to be, Mike Tomlin always says, nameless, I think he says nameless people and like blank faces. Like, I just want you to go out there and play football, because I'm not trying to have a relationship with you. Like, I'm just like, I'm cheering for you, but I don't need to call you on the phone. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, trust me, you don't want to talk to me either, because I have a lot of questions.
Something just popped in my head, and I'll share this with you all. My first impression of, well, not even I can say my first impression being around Coach Prime. We were up close and personal with Coach Prime. It was just after the press conference spring game, and when I heard him before I saw him, and with that being said, it's Coach Prime is a black father who does not play. You know,
Mhm.
we have these
We know.
figures in our everyday life, and we think, okay, but we see Coach Prime on TV. He's a cool, smooth, suave guy, and he's always upbeat. But at the end of the day, he is a black father who was raised, he was raised old school, and they
Mhm.
don't play. He has
Yeah.
rules, he has standards, and he has expectations on how you conduct yourself. And if you don't conduct yourself in that manner, he's going to make sure that you do. So that was my first impression, and I really respected him for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the other thing too, is like, I feel like I don't know if I could do what I'm way too opinionated. And I blame my dad for that, but kudos to my dad because I kind of like it because I'll just say I'll say what I'm thinking, and
Yeah.
everybody will know what I'm thinking. Nobody ever has to wonder, like, I wonder what she feels about this. I'm going to
Mhm.
tell you, don't worry. But sometimes I find myself like, I'll see something, and especially because, like, okay, I'm saying all this to say, when I used to sit in the stands, I had to be like row 5 because I have something to say. Like, like I'm that fan. I'm like, what? Like
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
overreactive
What are
fan.
you thinking?
Yeah, like what did you not see him coming? So and that's why, like, I'm the same way anytime. You know what I mean? Like that's just who I am. And so it's like then I'm thinking like maybe they didn't see it, so they need me to tell them. Maybe they know, but it's like the thing about football that I find interesting is we as fans, we will all collectively be thinking one thing, like take a timeout, take a timeout, take a timeout. Like we all are thinking it. All of us fans, we're thinking it. We're yelling it. We're yelling it at our TVs. We're yelling it at our phones. We're yelling it at wherever we're watching the game. And not one freaking timeout will be called. And this is not just like Colorado. This is just football.
Football. Yeah.
Or as a fan base, we're all saying, the spot's wrong. The spot's wrong. Like we all see it. Nobody on the field sees it. Or we're like, there's certain moments where it's like the way that we're in sync as fans compared to what is happening with the coaches
Right.
is always amazing to me. It's always, I don't know if you watched Buffalo play the Texans this week.
I didn't.
So the game was tied. So Josh Allen goes down. I quite frankly think he has a concussion. I think it's absolutely atrocious that they let him back in that game. So he gets, in my opinion, knocked down. He's on his way to the blue tent. As he's walking to the blue tent, CJ Stroud does something really stupid, stops the clock, whatever. They get the ball back. So instead of him going into the blue tent, he literally turns around, grabs his helmet, and goes back into the game. So I believe, I could be wrong on the seconds here. Yeah, that's a whole different conversation for a different day. Could be wrong on the seconds here, but I think there was probably like a minute and something left. He literally goes out there and he throws the ball 3 straight times. Okay, here's the issue with this. You throw the ball 3 straight times. Okay, so the clock stops every time you get an incompletion. The coach has to know you were just on your way in to go check for a concussion. Why are you throwing the ball? That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do that. So you do it 3 times. Obviously, now you're punting the ball. By the way, they're like on their 2. So now the punter has to punt. They punt the ball. The Texans like move the ball like freaking 15 yards, kick a field goal. They win the game. My point, though, is everybody watching the game was saying the same thing. Stop throwing the ball. Stop throwing the ball. Stop throwing the ball. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Were they up? Were they up, or were they trying to score?
It was tied. It was tied, and they were on there like 2 or 4 or whatever. And your quarterback your quarterback was heading to the blue tent, so that meant he wasn't feeling right.
Yeah.
And then you come back out and you're throwing the ball.
Yeah.
It's like, but my point is like everybody watching. The commentators, probably the Houston Texans sideline, was going, oh, they're going to throw the ball? All right. All right. Incomplete. We don't have enough timeouts anyway. All right. Cool. They're going to do it again. All right. And they lose the game, but it's like, and those moments, like, yeah. As a fan, I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, and in that situation, I see, me personally, I see two different solutions or reasons why they did that. One, maybe the coordinator was trying to be extra spontaneous and say, "Hey, maybe they're not going to think we're going to throw the ball. Let's throw the ball," you know. And two, they may not trust the running game. I'm not. I didn't watch the game fully, but if I just hearing the situation at hand,
Yeah.
maybe they don't trust the running backs late in the game with the ball in their hand, and
The
they've seen them in practice, you know.
the
So
problem is your quarterback had a concussion.
right.
And if your quarterback's brain was functioning, he actually wouldn't have thrown the ball.
Mhm.
Actually, and we've seen Josh Allen play. He's a pretty smart guy. Like he's a little reckless with the football, but he knows what's going on.
Right.
He would have ran the ball because that's what he
Mhm.
does. But his brain is not working.
Didn't tell them. Yeah.
He's walking to the blue tent.
Wow.
But again, it's one of those things though in situations where, and people always tell me like I'm so hard on Coach Prime, and I'm like, no, dumb is dumb. Like I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Mike Tomlin. I don't care if you're Steve Sarkisian. I don't care if you're the coach for the Buffalo Bills. That was stupid as hell. Like, what are you doing?
No,
Anyways, and they lost. So it's like you didn't manage the clock right. You did everything wrong, and you lost. You simply just lost. But anyways, I'm just like ranting and raving because sometimes these coaches piss me off. I'm like, y'all can pay me half of what he's making, and I could have done that for you.
Yeah.
Or you could, or my thing is always, you could pay me a little bit of money and put me on the sideline. I could tell you this shit ain't it.
Yeah.
Just give me a little bit.
Just a little something. Half of what they're making. Yeah.
I'll be there to help. Don't worry. We'll never have this happen if I'm down there.
Right.
That's what I always tell myself. Hey Bishop, I just want to say hi to a couple of people. Motivated and dedicated, what's up? So he's a Georgia fan.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting next week. I talked to them. Someone had to take it seriously. It was bad.
Really? It was bad.
Well, the game stopped. Like he gets hit really hard. You see his head hitting. It hit, came back up, and it hit again, which to me means he had no it's called something whenever you just like lose the ability to like stop your head from banging against the turf. Mm-hmm. It was a whole thing. People came out. We had to go to timeout. He walked very slowly off the field. All the things happened.
So no concussion protocols were done.
That's why I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And that's why I always tell people, I always go on my rants. I'm like, the NFL doesn't care about player safety because quite frankly, if they did, as soon as Josh Allen took the other turn to come back, somebody would have radioed down and said, hey, get him off the field right now. I don't care. Get him off the field, but they don't care.
You know what? I kind of think of that as like, this is just my theory. I kind of consider that the Brett Favre theory. You know, when you're trying to tough it out through a game and make the game winning play and, you know, get the glory at the end. And everybody's like, he's the best, you know, but it doesn't work like that every time. Brett Favre was a gutsy guy and he didn't care, you know, like I understand you're trying to make a legacy and make a name for yourself, but also you have the life to live after football.
Seriously.
And that's something that, you know, we could talk about for a while with Tua and all that whole situation. But yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it was terrible. And similar to Ben used to do that, right? Like Ben, like his whole kneecap looked like it was falling off after he got hit. And that man would just come back in on the next play. And I'm like, bro.
Yeah. You're going to feel this in 20 years.
I'm like, how are you doing this? But yeah, I mean, but I also feel like our job, obviously not like me and your job, but it's like, why do you all have all of these doctors on the sideline? And why do you have an earpiece to talk to the officials? And why did we set this up a certain way for you not to listen to any of those people?
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Like, I don't think I'm the smartest person on the planet, but I don't understand that. So
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, so it's one of those things where I'm always like, what are we doing? Like, honestly, Like, what are we doing? And why is this okay? I need somebody to tell me that. I need to call the NFL and ask.
Yeah, and one thing about it is I think the organizations entrust some players a lot more than they probably
That's fair.
should.
Hmm.
And when they say they're okay, and wherever they say goes, in a sense. But uh, it shouldn't be that way.
No.
You should always have to go through concussion protocol if that happened. A head injury happens,
Yeah.
and yeah, it just didn't happen from what it sounds like.
Yeah, it was bad. And again, like you I felt like the NFL let it go because they were hoping for a moment, like you said,
Yeah,
right? They're hoping
yeah,
for the comeback, they're hoping for the moment, they're hoping for the sound bite or the clip or the
yeah,
video or the whatever thing, they're
yeah,
hoping for it.
yeah,
But it's like at what cost?
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
and and if you're going to be a league that's supposed to protect these players, do your job.
yeah, yeah.
That's all. And again, like, I could go on and on about this forever, but I just think that one of the things that as a fan of football and knowing how gross and vicious and violent and all the things, it's like the least we could do because we're already making money off them. We're already using them for our entertainment. We're already doing all the things. Can you just care about them? Is that too much is that too much to ask to care about them?
Yeah, sad. Yeah, sadly,
Yeah.
it's yeah. All they see
So
is numbers. So yeah,
yeah, so that's why I'm like, go get your money, go get your NIL, go get your deal. Tell them you're worth 2 million. Don't sign that contract. I don't care.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but anyways, I also do you believe in? So I was gonna make a video about this, but I feel like it would be cooler just to kind of bring it up right here and right now. When people say something is like good for football or bad for football, do you ever say that? Like, do you think some certain things are like good for the sport or bad for the sport as far as like the NIL thing goes or transfer portal? Like, do you feel like any of this stuff can like harm football?
I will say this, and there may be other people that feel the same way. Um, as far as, don't get me wrong, I play the quarterback position, but as far as some of the rules that have been implemented over the past 10 years or so that protect quarterbacks, it kind of took away a little fun from the game.
Mm,
And I saw that as bad for football. It's okay sometimes to see Philip Rivers get smacked after he yelled in somebody's face.
facts.
It's like you deserve. I mean, it's not like you
Yeah,
deserve, but you know what I'm
I
saying.
know what you're
Like
saying.
it's
Yeah.
fair. It's fair. But for him to talk smack in somebody's face and they can only hit him below a certain area, that's just like, okay, guy. You know, back in the day, they used to knock his helmet off or something.
Right.
It's entertainment
Yeah.
at the end of the day. But yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Hey, Shirley, I'm just gonna say hi to everybody that just joined. Hi, Rebecca. Hello, everyone from Texas. Tua needs to make that decision, not the NFL. Which decision? I'm not sure what that was in
About
regards
the
to.
concussions, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I do agree that Tua needs to make. But what do they mean though? If he has a concussion, what decision is there for him to make?
Mm,
I don't know.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think, I think, I don't know if anything, back to brand, culture, identity, all those things. I don't think if anything outside of the white lines and the things that impact what happens in the field of play, I don't think anything outside of that can actually ruin football.
Right.
Because I think what we like is football, right? Like first down, second down, kicking a field goal, getting the linebackers out there, like watching the quarterback
Right.
play. I feel like whenever we say something is bad for football, I don't know how things outside of the actual game can be true. That's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm falling. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. Like a rule change in football. Okay, for example, the kickoff rule in the NFL is terrible. It's terrible. It's absolutely, positively terrible.
Throw it away. Throw it away.
Yeah. So it's ruined kickoffs, right?
Yeah.
Like that has actually ruined, like it's ruined an element of football. That is actually, because it's in the field. I don't know. Yes, like let me hit the quarterback. Let me, do whatever. Like that doesn't, but I don't think anything outside of the actual game can impact football. But I could be wrong.
Let me play the other
Devil's
side
advocate.
of the fence.
You always do this with me. Let's do it.
And
hold your thought. I just want to say, he's talking about if Tua wants to play. I agree with that. It's his decision. Anyways, go ahead. So
bad for football. My school, as I mentioned earlier, you can see the that I'm upset. I hear that some of the guys are partying during the week, with NIL money and driving these AMGs, nice Mercedes-Benz cars, and it's just like, is this really good for you guys? Like, you're not using it in the right way, party after a win. Not
That's
fair. And some players are like, okay, we're satisfied. I have my money, I may not make it to the league, but I still have money.
But I have my money.
Yeah.
Do you that's a good point. Mm-hmm. And listen, I'm a Texas fan. I hear you. My question though is, that's a behavior, in my opinion, that's a behavioral problem. And so I feel like this is what happens with people. And again, like, say something if you don't feel this way. I feel like the things happen to people, but we don't want to blame the behavior of the person. We want to blame the thing. So like, we want to blame NIL, but we don't want to blame parents for not raising their children properly, or the coaches for not holding their players accountable, or, you know what I mean? Like, Georgia had how many people get arrested this year? How many people did they actually reprimand, kick off, or whatever? So why would I change my behavior, actually? And
I'm sorry.
So so I'm just wondering, like, how I feel like we blame, and we do this in real life, not just football. We always blame the system, but sometimes it's the people within the system that are causing the system to not run like it should run. But we don't want to talk about the people. We want to talk about the system. And so anyways, that's just kind of my thought process on that is, if I did something stupid, you wouldn't be like, blame YouTube because you went live. You would be like, well, girl, get yourself together. Why did you do that?
So granted, the NIL is in its beginning stages as well.
Right.
So I guess that's a part of, why I see it that way. And if we see a change next year or the year after that, and we're still receiving NIL, of course, but we'll see. We'll just have to judge as we progress.
So I want to get to Rebecca's question, but I first want to answer this. Tua needs to retire. He has 5 concussions in the short amount of time. He's been in the NFL. That's not good. I definitely agree. He has had a ton of concussions, and he needs to figure out what that is for him. I just want to say one reason why he probably won't retire himself and will probably get medically retired is because of the way the contracts are written. And if he walks away from football, he will lose more money, as opposed to if a doctor medically retires him, he's going to be able to get more money. So he probably, in his mind, is probably thinking he should retire, but I don't know if a doctor will even clear him to play. So he shouldn't do anything. He should let them medically retire him so he can collect his checks. So that's my opinion on that. But what do you think? Coach Prime said today in the press conference, he doesn't like the red shirt rule.
I think it's fair.
I think it is too. Yeah. I'm also a player's woman. Like, I think for so long, these coaches have held all the power, and they've been able to leave when they want to, come when they want to, cut who they want to, talk to you how they want to, treat you how they think you should be treated. And now the players are like, oh, okay. Cool. So you liked me when you came, got me. Cool. I'm leaving.
Yep.
So yeah, you will hardly ever is a strong word because you know how it goes, right? As soon as you say it, you come with an example. But I will very, 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 very rarely take a coach's side over a player's side. Very rarely. Very rarely.
You know,
but what are your thoughts?
You know, that you saying that just brought back another flashback, and I have to mention it. And it really bothers me when you said taking a player side instead of a coach. I have to bring up his name, Cormani McLean.
Oh
that
gosh,
just,
you're gonna send this whole thing to a frenzy.
yeah. I had to mention him. Like that, the way he conducted himself just showed exactly. You know, it proved Coach Prime right. Like,
I have a pushback to this. I'm excited you brought this up. So let me hear what you think.
So Coach Prime, he did not mention anything about Cormani and why he wasn't playing in the early stages of last season until Cormani went out on social media and put out, you know, these things and these ideas. Coach Prime was like, oh, okay, now since you want to do that, I have to say this. You're not showing up to meetings. You're showing up late to practice. You're doing this. You're not going to class. This is why you're not playing. This is why we don't trust you. You know, and it's like you have to do those things in order to build a solid foundation and build an identity in a program. You have to obey the rules.
Yeah.
And he wasn't doing those things.
So as a leader, can we agree that as a leader, everybody has to be led differently?
True. Well,
and what might work for you might not work for me. So if I am leading, I'll use volleyball. Usually there's 12 people on a volleyball team. I think it's changed to 16, but it doesn't matter. If I have 12 volleyball players and each one of those 12, I kind of have to know how to work those 12, right? To figure out like who I can push, who's the whatever, who's the leader, who's the vocal, who's sensitive, right? Like all of these things. And as a leader, my job is to figure that out. Do you agree to that?
Honestly, I can't say I do agree because if depending on the level, if we're in college and I recruit you, you understand my playing style, you understand the schemes that we're running and that I'm going to what you're coming into. So I see it as you have to buy in. You have to buy in. You're being sold something and you bought in to these terms. So it's like a contract. This is what we have, this is how we do it, this, you bought in. So with that being said, you buying into Coach Prime's program, you have to abide by his rules, even if
no. I agree. No. I agree with abiding by the rules. I'm not arguing the not doing what you're supposed to do. I'm not arguing that. Right. My argument is this. Whenever you call out a child, or sorry, an athlete, I know I say child, people like, is that a child? Like an athlete. Right. Whenever you call out an athlete, you're taking a risk because you don't know how that athlete's going to respond. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So cool. You call him out. Honestly, I have no problem with that. I actually have no problem with that. Call him out. Cool. Call him out. And he doesn't know what he's supposed to do. Cool. Then I don't watch well off, so I don't want to get into the logistics of well because I don't watch. But I heard that in the video, can't tell you when the video was, can't tell you the context that happened. I heard that something was said about him don't do like Cormani did and go to the bathroom or something. Or again, I don't know the exact wording, but I saw it on Twitter, so I'm assuming that's real. Again, don't know where this happened in the thing. Right. But my point is this. As a person, when your leader runs to the media about you, and then you leave that situation, he didn't run to the media, but as a player, my thing about Cormani is Nothing about him making the YouTube video surprised me because everything he's seen this far has been on YouTube.
Yeah.
And my defense, because I made a video and I was like, in defense of Cormani, whenever you have grown people around you doing something, and then you leave those grown people, you want to know what you do? What those grown people are doing. That's how life works. And I think that in situations like this, I think that everyone has a piece of the blame to accept, but for different reasons, right? Cormani wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. He wasn't studying. He wasn't doing the thing. Cool. Absolutely right. He owns that. That's his. He screwed that up. Check. Got it. I think we can all agree with that. However, he also acted how he saw people around him acting. Does it make it wrong or right? I don't know, but he learned that behavior from somewhere.
True.
And that's always my counter is like, is it all Coach Prime's fault? No, it's not all Coach Prime's fault. That's not what I'm saying. So anybody listening to this, listen, I'm not saying it's all Coach Prime's fault. I'm not saying he didn't do everything he's supposed to do. I'm not saying I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that sometimes when situations happen, even if we only have 20% to blame and Cormani has 80% to blame, that still means we could have done something different in a situation. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. So yes, I definitely agree with what you're saying as well. So 2 things. Coach Prime was being pressed by the media,
But who cares about them?
Yeah, it's only so much you can take week after week. You're losing, and they're like, "So when are we going to see Kamani? When are we going to see Kamani?"
You know what you say? Don't ask me any more questions about Cormani. You've been in that media room. If he says that, what will people do?
Right. They'll stop. But then Cormani goes on Instagram and puts a message on there saying, "I deserve better." I'm just making something up. I deserve better. And then people are going to ask about this, and then
you
that's
say it again. No,
See,
you say it again.
That's where we went left. Yeah, that's where.
Yeah, it's like, and that's so it's like, and again, like, I don't want anybody to listen to this and be like, "Oh gosh, she's blaming Coach Prime." That's not what I'm doing. I just said, 10 minutes ago, we always blame the system and we don't hold the people accountable for their behavior and what they did wrong in a situation. We're humans. We don't handle every situation right. We don't do everything right, and that's okay. But what we do is the leaders that teach us things, we take those things and then we do them because that's how we are as people. We think that that's what we're supposed to do. And so if you're going to come after me, I'll do the same to you. Like, what's the problem with this? Why does it matter? So that's all I'm saying. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad that's over. I'm glad it's over, quite frankly.
Last question for you. Last question on that subject. Yeah. So he was just 1 out of 100. And it's just like,
exactly.
Why?
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly. Exactly. Because you want to know what? You could pull up anybody's roster, almost anybody's roster that has a 5-star. Same shit. Sorry, I just cussed. But the same, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. And that is actually my point is that's why you just say, I don't have any comment about it. I don't have a comment. No comment. He knows what he's not doing. No comment. That's a locker room issue. No comment. He tweeted something. He knows what he's doing wrong. No comment. Who cares? Who cares? You know what I mean? And again, I've gone on record as saying this, so I'll say it here. There's a lot of times in Coach Prime's things where I just want him to be like, no, we don't care. I'm not commenting on that. I'm leaving that where it's at. I'm letting it go. I don't care. It doesn't impact me. I'm here to win. Let it go. Everything doesn't deserve a response.
And you know what? That ties into what I was saying earlier about, Coach Prime just being a Black father. After so much, you just have to tell it how it is, And I feel like he's that type of person. And that's why that came out the way it did. So.
Yeah. And I love this comment because you are absolutely right. I am standing in the middle. Exactly. You are 100% right. Like, and that is why people get pissed off at me, because you're right. Like, yeah. And I think more of us should stand in the middle, right? I think more of us should take a stand and not always blame the player or blame the coach or blame the trainers or blame the, everybody can have blame.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You know, fair. Yes. So, and that's the thing. Yes. I'm glad that you picked up on that. I am 100% standing in the middle. And I'm going to say this and we won't go here. I think that this happens though in the political landscape too, where people think we have to take a side. It's us and it's them. And it's either us or it's them. You can't like a policy from this person or a policy from this person or a little bit of that or a little bit of this and have a melting pot and mix it all together and want something better. You can't do that anymore. You have to be this or you have to be that. I don't agree with that. I am always going to stand in the middle. Because
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
And you can say yes or no. And like you said,
I'll probably answer it.
We don't have to get.
I'll probably answer it because I have opinions.
Do you think this is a systematic programming that we have to pick a side, pick left or right? Okay, all right, cool.
Yes.
Right,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We're conditioned to pick a side. Exactly. And because, unfortunately I was reading a book that I typed a note. I need to see if I can find it. We are conditioned to pick what we think is right and what we think is wrong. Okay. And so so in the thing I was listening to, it said, choose your enemy. For some reason, as a society, we have decided there always has to be a villain. We've decided that. You want to know why? Because we see it in reality TV. We see it in that trash. We see it in politics. We see it in games. We see, like, if you think about life, we always have to have a villain because we were taught that, but that is not true.
True.
You could, like, if you give me any topic, I can sit here and argue both sides with you any day of the week and twice on Sunday. And somebody will be like, well, what do you think? I'm like, that is actually what I think.
Yeah.
That is what I think. I can piss you off and make you happy at the same time. That actually can happen.
You know what? That makes me think about when I saw the Joker movie. I know this is kind of off subject, but the Joker movie, and you kind of understood why he was the way he was. And, you kind of felt for him and you were sympathetic. It was like, wow, I would probably be that way too if I went through those same situations.
Exactly.
So I can see that perspective and I see both perspectives and I'm in Yep.
And this is kind of like a little bit more personal, but there was a time in my life where I went through therapy. And one of the things that therapy taught me was state how you feel and never feel like you have to declare how you feel. And I was like, what the hell is this lady talking about? Like, state how I, like, what does that mean? And she was basically just saying, live in your feelings, right? Like, don't feel like you have to say yes or no, or don't, like, sometimes it's just laying it out there. And then, maybe you'll pick a side. Like, if some, like, obviously there is right and wrong, right? Like, I don't believe in like murder, like, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Right. Like, but there's some stuff where it's like, I don't have to pick a side. I don't have to. I made a video about my Steelers, right? And I'm like, we're terrible. You want to know who's terrible? All of you are terrible. All of you, right? Offense is terrible. The defense is terrible. The coach is terrible. The special teams is terrible. You're all terrible. Like, you're all terrible. I don't have to blame the offense or the defense or no, you're all terrible. Collectively, is you all terrible. Yeah. Let me go back up a little bit. So, hello there. I think he was referring to Trevor Woods redshirting. Oh, Coach Prime. As a leader, I don't believe you call out somebody out publicly. It has unless it's absolutely necessary, because you can crush them. As the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. Agreed. Yes, don't do what Cormani did and skip practice and go to the bathroom. Right. And I agree, right? Like, nobody should do that. It's just, why do I know that he was doing that? I should never know that he was doing that. I don't want to know. Yeah. Standing in the middle. Yep. That's what I'll do. I like the stream, y'all. Thank you.
What's
We're
up,
just up here
Daryl?
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just up here like, I tell you this all the time. I don't often say it publicly, but I like engaging in conversation where two people don't have to agree on every single thing we talk about.
Right.
And I think we need more of it. And I always tell people, you never have to agree with a single thing that I say. All I ask is that you listen. That's it. You don't have, you can walk away from this and be like, she is so dumb. Like, she is so, like, that's fine. That's fine with me. That's totally fine. I will be dumb.
And it just shows like maturity and being able to respect another person's perspective on a subject. And I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And like, I'm going to use my words very carefully here, but there's been some times before we even hit record where I'm like, I gotta just tell you how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you because I gotta get it out. Right. And I'm like, I gotta tell you, and this is what I think, and this is how I feel. Am I wrong? Did I miss it? Am I off? Please tell me. Like, and I always say, like, you're my balance because, I will go and I'll just whatever. And you do a good job of kind of being like, I can kind of see why you would say that. Let me tell you kind of what I'm seeing. And I love that, because it's like, let's just talk about it because maybe I'm clearly losing my mind.
No.
Or maybe I picked up on something and you're like, you know what? I didn't even think of. I can kind of see why you would say that. So, anyways, so just like some context of this is normal for us, just to kind of like have this dialogue back and forth. Rebecca said listening. Well, we appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
As long as people are engaging with both side point and good faith conversation. That's it. That's what I always say. And I often say too is there's this, I'm going to say this and this might go off the rails. We can end this if it goes off the rails. There's this weird thing with Coach Prime that if you don't agree with something that he does, it means you don't support him. And that's just not real life. That's not true. And listen, there's a lot of things I do where my parents are like, why did you say that? Why did you do that? Like, oh my God, here you go again with this crap. Like it happens. That doesn't mean they don't love me because I did something they wouldn't do. It just means that they have an opinion that isn't my opinion and I'm grown and I'm going to do what I want to do. So I wish that we could stop the narrative of, I'm going to criticize Coach Prime and I'm also going to love on him because that's what I do. And you know this. I will criticize and I will love. And I will criticize and I will love. And sometimes I will love, and I won't criticize. And then I think we need to come to a place where that's okay. Because some of the criticisms are good criticisms. And when they get fixed, you're like, perfect. On to the next thing. You just move on.
And you know what? I saw somewhere that a friend isn't a friend if they don't correct you when you're wrong. So I kind of feel that's the same type of vibe, and of course we always want to support our people, but when we see something that isn't right, we would be ingenuine not to say something or stand against what they are saying. So I see that as your perspective. Yeah.
And I've said this to you, so I'm gonna say it publicly. There's enough people loving on him. Everybody doesn't need to. Somebody has to push back.
There's a lot of people pushing back too. There's way more.
No, I mean like they're real fans, right? That like want to see him be successful, want to see him win, and want to see him cool. I also and I said after the Nebraska game, I'm like, I'm going to start holding you to the standard you told me I should hold you to. Yep. That is my new thing. And you told me to hold you to a standard. This is the year of expectations. So guess what? I have expectations. And if you don't like that I have expectations, that's not my problem.
Fair enough.
But
fair enough.
Yeah. Everybody should be able to be criticized. I agree. So the other thing is, this is your first live. You can see comments. You kind of know what's going on. Yeah. How are you feeling? Are you uncomfortable? Do you feel good? How do you feel?
I feel great. Honestly, it's always good to have a platform where you can come on and express your thoughts and express your perspective. And because you never know, someone else might be feeling the same way as you.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as me, I was a quiet person growing up, and I never really, was outspoken. And being able to have my own platform and speak and do and just give my opinion, that
Yeah.
counts. That matters. That matters. Your opinion matters. To a certain extent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Your opinion matters to you more than it really mattered. Well, I don't know if that's true though.
Hmm.
So I do this thing with my classes. Every week I'll ask them like a thought-provoking question.
Mhm.
And 2 weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, I asked them, if there was anything you can change in the world, what would you change? And I always lead it because I never want to ask them to do something I wouldn't do. And I always lead it. And I said, this is always my answer. I'm like, I wish money would be absolute. Like, I wish that money would just be, it wouldn't be a thing, right? Like, I wish that it wouldn't be a limitation. And so that was mine. And then somebody else took that and they said that they wish that, oh God, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but he was like, I wish that when I was on Twitter, I could engage with people that wanted to engage with me. And I thought, the hell is he like?
Yeah. What do?
Like, I'm like, big idea, money being absolute. Like, I have these, and he's like, and I'm like, okay, but his comment, like, was off the chain for like 2 days, and people were so invested in that conversation. And I thought he had a thought that majority of this class was so fascinated with, and they went on and on and on. And I thought, I'm like, I think that's what people should say what they're actually thinking, because there's
True.
probably other people that are like, yeah.
True. I agree. But to a certain extent, because after so long, you're just giving your opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
yeah,
but
that's
what if you
definitely
get paid to give your opinion? Do you think you should just?
I call it Stephen A. Smith.
I kind of set you up for that.
Yeah, but no, like it's
Yeah.
it's needed to give your perspective on
Yeah.
how you feel. Yeah.
So what is something that people would be shocked to know about you
Mm.
that you're willing to share on this
Mm.
live? Ooh, I like this one. So we'll talk about that afterwards.
Let's see. Something that people would like to know about me. Mm. Well, a lot of people don't know I make music as well. I don't know if they, scroll down to the bottom of my page, but I'm also an artist. I'm very artistic. Not only do I make videos, I take pictures, I make music, I draw, and I make shirts. I made this shirt here,
Oh, that's cool. What does it say? Welcome
It
what?
says welcome home. I made this for it's my clothing brand.
Oh, okay.
Will Malore. That's my clothing brand. I make clothes. I'm very creative. Like I said, I like to create things, and name brand is fine, but I would rather see me, with some custom
Wear your
made
own stuff.
pieces. Right,
Yeah.
right.
What
I
did
feel like
Nipsey say? Nipsey has a lyric for that.
I should know
It just
this.
escaped me.
I should know
What did
this.
he say? Oh my God. I can literally hear everything but the one line. Oh my God. Anyways, it'll come to me, or I'll Google it, because now it's going to bother me. Because it's like, when he sings it, I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I should know this.
And I think YG says it in Last Time That I Checked. I can hear the music, but I can't get the line. I can't hear it. It will come to me. That's going to bother me. Whatever. What does YG say in Last Time That I Checked? And he was talking about wearing his own stuff. I can't get the line in my head. I can't get it. It'll come to me. Somebody in the chat might know what I'm talking about, or everybody.
He said something about on my own label, something.
Yes, but okay, okay. I haven't lost it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
I can't get. Yes, there it is. Okay, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's where it is. I'm like, I can hear
it.
it, but like I couldn't place it. I knew he said it. And then Nipsey says something else in another song, but that one sticks out to me because, well, anyways, that's now we're off on my Nipsey, my love
People
for
like
Nipsey.
this. People like this.
Yeah, my love for Nipsey. I know if anybody ever looked at my phone to see what kind of music I listen to, they'd be like, "You listen to that? What do you know about this?" So I wish Prime would let the players celebrate more after a win. He appears to shut down the happy. So I just want to say something, and you can choose if you want to say something. I don't believe that he doesn't let him celebrate. I just think we don't often see everything. And so I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to leave that alone. But I don't know if there's anything that you want to say about that.
Yeah, so I will say this. After how last season ended, it's very important for our guys to stay focused throughout the season. Kobe Bryant said it best. We're in the finals. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant said the best. We're in the finals. We haven't won yet. What is there to celebrate? The mission isn't accomplished. So I feel like it's Coach Prime's job to make sure that the players are even keel, level headed, and yeah, you can celebrate after a win, but that's not the Super Bowl. That's not the championship. Right. We have a goal in mind, and we have to stay focused on the goal.
Yeah, we are witnessing, if everything goes like it's supposed to go, we are witnessing the evolution of a program that is used to losing, and we're transitioning to win. And that looks different. There's a huge conversation happening right now in Texas land where it's like, people are like, if we beat Oklahoma, we're rushing the field. And people are like, absolutely not. We're past that. Like, because we should be used to this by now. We shouldn't feel the need to rush the field. We're ranked number 1 in the freaking country, for crying out loud. Why are we rushing the field? Like, no. Yes, it's a rival and all those things, but I think what he's doing is the right thing. That's why I said, like, they're celebrating, but that's what happens though when you win. Like, when you win, you celebrate, and then you're like, cool, we move on.
Right.
So I think we're seeing the transition of a culture. Although Coach Prime acts like he's no culturist, that's a different conversation for a different day. We are seeing the culture and we're seeing it being implemented in real time right now. So it's listen, they're doing what they're supposed to do. As somebody that everybody says I'm a tough critic of Coach Prime and he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing right now, and he's doing a great job at doing what he's supposed to be doing right now. Expect to beat UCF. Expect to beat them on the road. Celebrate. Get on the bus. We're heading back home. Expect to beat Kansas State. Now, fans, rush the field. Rush the field. Rush the field. Rush the field. But players, it's different. It's different. Yeah, but fans, rush the hell out of the field. That's fine. But anyways, so I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but that's kind of how I feel.
One thing the players mentioned, I think it was actually Konnxcted during practice. 1-0 every week. 1-0 every week. You have to always keep your goal in mind and be mindful that if you party too much and celebrate too much, that can become a distraction. Mm-hmm. And it can derail you from your goal. And those guys that were on the team last year, they understood what it was like to go 3-0 in the beginning of the season, and the rest they bummed out. They don't want that to happen again. That was a terrible taste in their mouth. So stay focused.
And I will say, I feel like in one of the interviews I watched of Coach Prime, like after the year last year. So just for anybody watching, I'm very selective in the Coach Prime interviews that I watch, just like I'm very selective in the Coach Sark interviews I watch, just like I'm very selective in the Mike Tomlin interviews I watch. I get they all have a coach speak element, so I don't really like hang my hat on the things that they say. But there was something he said at the end of last year that was what you said. Like we were hot, we were ready to go, and then when we started losing, we didn't know what to do. to like re-steer it because we had exhausted so much energy winning. And it's like that, I think that describes that perfectly. Is like, we won, check, we got to move on because we want to keep winning. We don't want to win just today. Like we want to win next week and the next week and the next week. So it's like, you can't spend, it's like when you have $100, you can't go into the store and spend $98 and then go to another store. Like, well, unless you're a child, then you can do that. You want to get some bubble gum. But I don't know if anybody else has any other questions. We're just like rambling. I told you this. I don't have anything else to do for us tonight. I have 2 free days of my life and I am going to use it however I see fit. So, but I don't know if anybody else has any other questions, or if you have any other questions, or how you feel, if you want to keep talking, because you know me, I can come up with things to talk about. Inappropriate things, good things, all the things. So I'm like, the one thing that reading has taught me is sometimes I have these things in my brain. I don't know they're in my brain until I start talking to somebody. And I'm like, oh yeah, I read that. I heard that. I saw that. I highlighted that. So it helps me to just like create more dynamics. Ooh, I like this question. Somebody asked, who am I? So I am just a regular person, started a YouTube channel in December, and I'm a huge sports fan, love football. My first love is actually volleyball, but I don't talk about volleyball at all because a lot of people, don't know what it is. And that's actually like my baby that I hold very close to me. And it just so happens that football happens the same time volleyball happens. And so I play volleyball in college and all those things. So I started a YouTube channel and I do combination of making videos about Colorado, making videos about Texas, making videos about the Steelers, because those are my 3 teams. If you ask me what I like better, it's going to be the NFL over college, but I have more teams in college and the NFL. But I pride myself on having engaging conversations with different people, different perspectives. This summer, I did an NFL fan series. And so I did one fan from every NFL team. I talked to them about like their excitement for the season and things like that. And then before the college season started, I wanted to do a content creator series with the 3 teams that I follow, because that's where I get my information usually is by content creators. So they don't like big media. And in that series, that's how we connected. You like reached out, you saw what I was doing. You're like, wait, I think I can kind of be a part of this. Like, this is kind of cool. So anyways, that's how we connected. So, well, literally and figuratively, I guess you could say. So that's who I am. I'm just like a woman in sports that likes to talk about all different things. I always tell people, if you ever want a different opinion, or if you ever want an opinion on somebody that's always going to kind of call it down the middle, I'm your girl. I hardly ever pick sides. I usually always just like state my opinion and why I have that opinion, and I just roll with it. That's what I do. So it's an interesting space to be in. I will be honest and say though, because you know this, there's a lot more men than there are women, and I'm not an X's and O's woman by any stretch of the imagination, but I understand football very well, and I like to talk about it, and I like to give my opinion on what I'm seeing, because I feel like I see and talk about things a little bit differently than I've heard other people talk about it. Let me just say that. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, I always try to just like keep it real, keep it honest, keep it me, because I always say if I keep it real and I keep it to me, I can always defend myself because I actually believe the things that I say.
Right.
So that's who I am. So yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. So, and I don't know if anybody, do you post on your community tab whenever we do the recaps? So
I gotta get better. Yeah, I gotta get better at posting.
So I will teach you how to YouTube after this. Don't worry. No, I'm just kidding. So every week we're going to try to do a better job at releasing on Tuesdays. We're going to try, but we connect after the game. You travel to the games. I watch the games on TV, and we basically come together and do a recap. So you tell me he tells me about like his experiences, how his travel was, things that he saw. I tell him what I'm seeing from my perspective, being at home, being on TV. And then we just talk about Colorado, talk about his travel experience. And we've been doing it. We have 5 episodes, 6 episodes We've done it every week so
Every week.
far.
Yeah.
We'll do another one after Kansas State. And it's just like this. I feel like this is no different. We usually pick the guys that, we are proud of. We usually have an offensive guy, defensive guy, not named Shador, not named Travis Hunter. That's kind of the rule because they're always the answers, but we exclude them. And we just chat.
Yep. Great conversation. Great conversation.
Yeah. So I don't know how you found my channel though. I don't know how
I saw that a few content creators who followed the Colorado Buffalo were doing interviews with you, and I was like, hey, I think this, I think I can fit in that category too,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I reached out, and
it's so fun.
Yeah,
it's so fun, and I can talk to anybody. Like when I say anybody, I mean anybody. Like even somebody that thinks that I don't know anything, like I can talk to anybody. I always say I talk to a wall if I had to. But it's just fun. I like hearing people express themselves and give their opinions and give their thoughts. It's fun.
Right. It is.
So and the only rule I ever have is if I talk to you, you have to come on camera. You don't get to not come on camera. Like you have to come on camera because I need to see you. I need to I feel connected when I can see people and laugh with them or laugh at them.
Yeah. Body language is a language.
Yeah. Because I've said a couple of things and I've seen my guests be like, "Oh my God, she's going here." Okay, we've arrived. What is she gonna say? So that's a long-winded version of who I am, why I'm here, how we connected, and we connect every week. We actually talk more than that, but that's a whole different conversation for a different day. Nobody cares about that. The other thing is you're in Florida. I think people know you're in Florida. So I know this, and share as much as you want. What are your plans? How are you feeling about the storm? How are you getting prepared for the storm? What can we do to help you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, so we're going to have to evacuate probably tomorrow. I'm in northern Florida. It's not the storm that isn't directly going to affect us, but we will get some of the rain and some of the wind as well. But with that being said, I do have to go to Colorado on Friday. If you all want
to go to Colorado,
I have to go to Colorado. Yeah, it's an
you get
obligation now.
to go. You get to go.
No, but yes, I do get to go. But yes, if you would like to, donate, I'm always accepting donations or love offerings. It's Cash App and my name. I mean, excuse me, $ and my name, Connect, and you can find me on Cash App. Yeah.
Do you have your Cash App on your page?
I'm not. I don't think so.
Sir.
I didn't want to be that person. I don't like asking people for money.
You're right. You're not wrong because I had to somebody told me they're like, if you don't add it on there, I'm going to just start commenting it in your videos, and I was like, all right, fine. Yeah. So I did add it to my page, but I'm like, I feel weird. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate you. And then Jean says, stay safe.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you this, but I don't want to ruin I think I can ask you this. Yeah. What are you looking forward to heading to Colorado this time? This is a really big game. I don't want to be dramatic here and be like, this is you know how that goes, right? But I think this is a big game for a lot of reasons. How are you feeling about this game? What are you most excited to see? What are you thinking about when it comes to this travel experience?
I will say this. In Colorado, the stars come out at night. And what I mean by this is Colorado over the past two seasons is very successful during night games. I don't know why. It just came to my head, but I'm looking to see a very focused team, a hungry team, a determined team, a very well-prepared team, a refreshed team. Travis Hunter, I'm always looking forward to seeing him on the field and being the playmaker that he is. And how will he be dynamic? Will there be trick plays or something we haven't seen just yet? So I'm
Yeah.
expecting a newness, a freshness, a refreshing, being that this is really the middle of the season for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just very excited and to see how Shador Sanders will attack the defense and how we're going to stop Avery Johnson. So
Well,
the stars come out.
I've already made my prediction video because every week I make my prediction video, and I let me just say something, because for some reason I feel like when people listen to me, they don't listen. When I make my prediction video, yes, I predict who I think is going to win, but I also talk about 3 things that I'm looking for. So if those 3 things that I'm looking for happen and it executed right, my prediction then doesn't matter because they've done the things, right? So it's like, because people were like, yeah, they're like, you got UCF wrong. I'm like, no, I said, can you protect Shador? Can you stop the run? Like, I said the things and they did the things. So it impacted my prediction. So I always give like the 3 things that I'm paying attention to, because I think that that's how football games go, right? It's always like when you go back and look at the stats, and when you go back and think about the game, it's like certain things you usually look at, when you're like determining like, oh, we did well. Now, there's always an outlier. For example, NDSU was an outlier because, and I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what we were. That whole game was kind of I don't know. It feels like it was so long ago. But
yeah.
But again, it's the first game of the season. So it's like, how much can you really judge what's going on for the first game of the season? Because it's like, you don't know. You just don't know. So, but yeah, I mean, I think this is a huge game. I think this is a great opportunity. And I want to go on record and say a win or a loss doesn't move me anyway yet, because there's still so much, there's so much. That means they played half their games. There's so much football left. And I'm also telling myself this because I'm really bad at thinking that day is so important. So there's just so much football left. And I'm also speaking to myself. I'm a Texas fan. Okay. So leave me alone. So if we meet Oklahoma, I realize that there's still a lot of season left. So, it's just one of those things. But who do you have, Texas or Oklahoma? Let's see if we can still be friends.
Oh, Texas, of course. Of course, Texas.
I
like Arch. Arch is my guy.
Arch is your guy.
Yeah,
I respect it. Yeah, I like that I am in a spot where people know my team's backup quarterback. I just really love that for me, because you know what? Nobody can name 3 Texas quarterbacks from the past 15 years.
Well, at all.
So I love that we are now in a spot where people know our backup. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody else from the Texas team that crosses your mind? Any other names?
Isaiah Bond. Bond. Who else? Some more guys.
You are now on the spot, and you didn't even know I was going to put you on the spot.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I like it.
Yeah.
Trivia. It's like trivia.
Yeah, it is. And it's one of those things too, where it's like, you know way more about your team, right, than anybody else will ever know about your team. But it's funny, you don't realize that until you start talking about other people's team, and you're like, wait, who are your linebackers? Oh, right, okay. 20. What's his number? Oh, right, I saw him.
Yeah.
It's like, you need the reminder. Well, anyways, we have been on for an hour and almost 2 hours. Can you believe that we've been on for almost 2 hours?
That's great. I like it.
What are we talking about?
Life.
What are we doing? What are we talking about? No, but seriously, this was my crazy idea, and I appreciate you being like, yeah, let's do it. I will be honest and say, almost all of my crazy ideas, I think you've been okay with them.
Yeah, I don't see it as crazy. I see it as, being productive,
Yeah. Well, I will be honest and say, one of my secret superpowers is I can push people out of their comfort zones.
Really?
Yeah. So because I'm a boundary pusher. That's also another reason why I kind of ride the middle, right? Because I know I know most people don't like people that are in the middle. And I know most people don't understand how somebody can just kind of stay neutral. But because of that, I can give I can give you a fair shake, like, because I'm never going to go against you, and I'm never going to, you know what I mean? It's like you're always going to feel safe, because it's like I'm never going to go too extreme when it comes to dealing with humans, because I don't do that. Now my takes might be extreme, but not when I'm dealing with like other people. So yeah, it's just like my secret superpower that I unveil. I'm like, come on, I'm nice. I promise. I won't steer you wrong. Yeah, I won't steer you wrong. Yeah. Oh, I got the Longhorns and all. You know what? I won't go that far, but I am enjoying being a fan. Somebody told me at the beginning, at the middle of last year, they were like, do you remember when we didn't know if we could beat Kansas? Do you remember when we didn't know if we could beat West Virginia? And I thought, so from that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy winning.
Yeah. You have to.
It's hard. It's hard. So anyways, I appreciate you, and we will chat, I'm sure, at some point, but next week we'll record, and then I'll show you how to post it in your community tab so that people can see it, because I think people that look at your videos would like to hear you like expand more on those videos, because they don't get to talk to you when you make your videos. So and also,
I've always wanted to give them that live aspect, give them a platform to ask questions. So here it is.
It's great. Yeah. And listen, if you're watching this on the playback, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the things. If you're watching this on the playback, let us know in the comments below, if you've made it this far, in the comments below, like, do you want us to do this again? Was this live helpful? Do you like to just hear people rambling and talking about different things? Is there a certain topic you want us to talk about? Just know how my opinions are. So if you want me to talk about it, just be willing to listen to what I have to say, because you never know where it's going to go. But I don't mind doing these. I think they're great. And like I said, it just brings like a different dynamic to your audience, so people like know who you are beyond you holding your camera and showing them something. So
right.
I think that's important. And then Colorado has another bye week. So we technically could do this again during their bye week, because did you know that Texas has a bye week, Colorado has a bye week, and the Steelers all have the same bye week?
In the first week of November?
Yes. Look at God. You know how hard it is covering 3 teams?
You get a break.
Half the time I don't even know what video I'm editing. I'm like, what? What's this about? So I'm like, yeah, it's like, oh gosh, I just got chills thinking about that. So anyway, so yeah, if you watch this on the playback, or I saw Rebecca said, yes, please do this again, or Foster said, yes, please do this again, let us know. I'm also noticing that you have a membership on your channel. I think is what I'm saying. So if you are interested in joining his membership, if you go to his channel, you can hit join. What?
No, I was just doing my little join the membership.
You can hit join, and then we don't have to be live to join that membership. I think some people think people have to be live in order to join the membership. You don't have to be live. You can join the membership at any time. So that's a thing. And then like, share, subscribe, leave comments, and let us know if you want us to do this again. We'll figure it out. Like, we're sane people. We might not stay on for 2 hours, I don't think, but whatever. Whatever. It is what it is. So anyways, anything you want to say in closing? Do you have any comment? I just volunteered you to do this again. Do you want to do it?
Yeah, of course. Most importantly, I thank everybody for watching. We put so much time, hard work, and passion into what we do, and it's all for you all to, consume content, great content, quality content from quality people, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And he's really not that bad. See him in the videos, and you're like, I don't really know if I can really trust this guy. You can. He's not that bad. It's fine. No, I'm totally kidding. But seriously, let us know in the comments below. I know I've said it a few times, but I've learned being a professor, sometimes you have to say things 3 times for people to actually hear you. So I will always say everything 3 times for that reason, because it's very important.
Are we going to go to 2? Are we going to go to 2 hours? We should.
We're going to 2 hours. We are officially going to 2 hours.
We're almost there. 5 more minutes.
We're almost there. Yeah. So since we're going to stay on for a little bit longer, my hair is officially on my nerves. And you're used to this because you see me do this often. And these braids need to come out, but nobody cares about that. You're on. You want to stay on for a few more minutes? What do you want to do?
So
you want to fire questions at me or what?
Yeah, I want to fire some questions. Top 3 cities that you've been visited.
In the US or out of the country?
US.
Pittsburgh, Moab, Utah. Gosh, this third one is always so hard. I'm going to go New York City, because if you haven't had a New York City experience, you haven't traveled anywhere. You gotta go. You have to. Especially, I live in the South, so you have to have the New York City experience.
Yeah, I love that. I'm just gonna throw another random idea out. We have to live stream at a game one day. That would be really cool.
I am not a good game goer. Like I'm not committed to the mission. Like,
come on, you guys, comment, say, come to a game.
Yeah, like, for example, if you were at a game, and I'm not saying I'm going to be on the sidelines on the field with you, I'm just saying, like, if you were at a game and we're sitting in the stands together, right, and you were like trying to record this very moment, you would 100% hear me going,
oh god,
100% be like, forget the game, this is the show, because she's losing her crap. So I'm that I'm that person. Like, you will hear me yelling, what? Or hey, so
more of an on location type deal,
Yeah, that's definitely me. I'm the person that's like, do y'all hear it? Is somebody yelling? but I'll, I can do my best. But
I'm just speaking something.
No, I love it. What else you got for me? I love being put on the spot. Let me drink some water. Jeez.
Let's see. Dream car. What's your dream car?
Ooh.
Little personal Q&A here.
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind was a Corvette, because I don't think I'm ballsy enough to ever buy one. But there's this Corvette I always see, and it's like this electric blue, and it's fully loaded. And I caught the guy that drives it at the gas station probably a few months ago. It is absolutely gorgeous, but I just don't think I'll ever have the courage to actually get it because it's set so low.
Yeah.
But if I ever like pick up my courage to do it, I would, but I don't think I ever could, because I don't know if I would really drive it. I think I would just look at it and like sit in it and be like, isn't this sexy? Oh, it's so nice. But I don't know if I would ever drive it. So I don't know if I'd spend the money.
Yeah. Next question. Favorite airline and why?
If I am traveling internationally, Delta, because I like their first class. If I am traveling in the US, Southwest all the way, because I overpack and I can get 2 bags for free. And to carry on.
2 bags to carry on for free?
You can have 2. You can technically have 4 free bags for Southwest. You can carry on 2 and have 2 be in the bottom for free.
Wow. Let's see.
Yeah.
Next question. Favorite TV show in the 90s?
Saved by the Bell.
Okay. I used to like Keenan and Kel.
Ooh, yeah. I thought I was the Saved by the Bell kids.
Really?
I don't know why. I just thought they were cool.
If you had to be in a TV show, no matter the time, which TV show would you want to be in? It can't be Saved by the Bell.
That's a really good question. And my answer is, if you are not older than me, you're not going to understand my answer. I have always wanted to be a part of Double Dare. Do you remember that
Yeah,
show on
yeah, yeah,
Nickelodeon?
yeah,
So,
yeah. I remember.
so that one, or Legends of the Hidden Temple. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
I
I remember.
always I wanted to go on those shows. I wanted to participate in the shows. I wanted to get slime all over me, or yes, if
Yeah,
I could be in any, it would be those. I love those shows, man. I love
that's
those
great.
shows.
We hit 2 hours.
We did it.
We did it.
Awesome. Yeah. And somebody said, now that would be funny. Now that she said that, because I can imagine something she might say. Seriously. Seriously. You
See
so
what it comes
so
to
if
stuff.
you if anybody watching this has never seen any of my Coach Prime videos, I want to make you a promise on live. If you go over and watch a couple of my Coach Prime videos, you will see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You will see exactly, you will see this person, but in video form, and it will all make sense. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I appreciate you. I appreciate you keeping me on for 2 hours. We did it. So your first simultaneous live on your channel, it will
2
always
hours.
be there. Well, unless you decide to delete it. But
I won't delete
I'm
it.
happy that we did this. And I just wanted to say, one of my friends, but thanks for doing this. There's a lot of people right now, before we end, I just want to say there's a lot of people right now that are worried about the storm, in the storm, trying to relocate. There are some people that can't afford to relocate or get out of the storm. And so they're trying to figure out ways that they can make that happen. So I just want to ask everybody, if you have any time today to send a prayer out, or if you don't pray, send out a happy thought, or send out something positive to all the people that are struggling, that are trying to figure out a way, that are just looking for a glimmer of happiness. Spread love, spread kindness. Remember, there's people out there that are in a very, very, very dangerous situation. So just remember that. Keep them in your thoughts. Be nice to people, love on people, show them a little bit of grace, because you never know what somebody's going through for themselves, or what somebody is dealing with their family and friends that are going through something during all this time. And then I'll let you talk, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Don't forget to be kind. Don't forget to spread love, send prayers, whatever it is you do to send positive vibes to people. Take some time and make sure you do that. Not only for this storm coming, but the storm that we've already had that is already impacting people. There's a lot of people that need love and happiness and positivity and just good people and kindness. So if you can do that for somebody, if you can be that for somebody, don't miss out on that opportunity to hopefully, make somebody's day or week, because you never know what they're going through. So that's all I want to say. I'll pass over to you, and then we'll end on you. So just remember to spread that love and kindness.
Awesome. And yes, I included a link into the comment section. If you would like to donate to some of the victims from Hurricane Helene in South Georgia, which is my hometown, a lot of them are still without power, and were without power and resources, and uh, everything that we need to survive. Some people are lacking that as we speak. And if you would like to donate, you can donate to the local United Way of South Central Georgia. Like I said, I included the link, and in there they have a donation site where you can donate and give directly to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And,
don't forget
and
to love on each other. Go
yeah,
ahead.
love on each other. Yeah.
Yeah, please. Please. All right, everybody have a good night. We'll see you
Good
sometime
night, guys.
soon, and in our respective videos.
Good night. Peace.